Buddy. Welcome back to the channel. This is Ryan Aranda here, my best life Paraguay. Yeah, I know I got the Ray Charles back on. Anyways, so we're gonna be covering a new video here from a channel called Helmi, Helmi. The video is Paraguay, Paraguay, the hidden gem of Latin America, episode 1, a country ready for business. Okay, and I just saw a couple minutes of this, but I decided to not watch it and watch it here and have raw reactions for you guys, right? A lot of people ask me about investments and all that good stuff, and is Paraguay growing and all that stuff, and absolutely. And I imagine this is going to cover it way better than I probably could, right? So yeah, we're going to get into it. Just in case you don't know me, I'm Ryan Aranda. I've been here for 5 months here in Paraguay. Living here, coming from the U.S., very obvious. And, I have family here. I have, I've been visiting family here for 12 years, so I know the country. But to this macro level, I still have a lot to learn myself. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're going to get into this, and I'm not going to say too much more, but, this is the few minutes that I did watch, I can tell this is going to be one hell of a documentary, you guys. And this channel has 1.12 thousand subscribers. Go subscribe to them. The way that I've seen this documentary, I mean, eventually this channel is going to have millions of subscribers for sure down the line. So yeah, go subscribe to Helmi. And yeah, let's get into this.
When I talk to the world about my country, they could not believe that this is real, and they have to check Google and read about, because they cannot believe that this is real.
I've actually lived all over the world, and I know what people think about Paraguay. It's like kind of a hidden country in South America, but it's a gem. We are convinced that Paraguay has many of the answers for the world, but we need to go out and tell this to the world. We need to untap the full potential of the Paraguayans. In a region often characterized by political and economic turmoil, high inflation, and instability, Paraguay stands out as an exception. But how has this small landlocked country managed to maintain stability and achieve economic growth? Over the past 2 decades, its economy has grown faster than the regional average, with significant reductions in poverty. Additionally, Paraguay has one of the most competitive tax regimes fostering business growth. Paraguay runs on 100% renewable electricity, making it one of the greenest countries in the world. We've come to Paraguay.
You know what's really asinine about the world is that Paraguay is almost never mentioned. Everybody talks about the Nordic countries and even China for that matter. Oh, they're green energy. Like, no, we're green energy. And the fact that Paraguay always gets skipped when it talks about real green energy coming from our rivers, the most productive hydroelectric dam in the world, the Itaipu Dam, produces all of our energy. We have so much energy, we export it right back to Brazil and make money off of that as a country, benefiting the people. My electricity bill is incredibly low because of this amazing dam, right? So like it's Paraguay always gets skipped, always. And these are people who are writing for American and European articles. And it's so asinine. I'm so glad that the world is finally waking up to Paraguay, and South America in general. So glad.
Going to uncover its hidden gem. So what makes Paraguay so intriguing? To find out, we'll delve into the factors that shape this country today, the foundations of its economic strength, and the unique qualities that make it a compelling destination for growth in the future. Before we get into the building blocks that make Paraguay what it is today, we need to first take a look at how did this place even come to be? What did the settlers see that made them place their roots in Asunción, the capital of what is today Paraguay? So imagine 500 years ago, they arrived to this place and they settled here for one reason. It was not geography, it was the people, the awareness. They found this very friendly indigenous community. So they settled here and they launched all the expeditions to discover other cities. That's why Asunción is called the mother of all cities. 70 cities
Asunción was the epicenter of the discovery of the America.
The Spanish explorers and Jesuits missionaries created settlements during the 17th and 18th centuries with the Guaranis. Given the Guaranis' friendly nature, the Jesuits not only protected but also built towns and co-lived with them. This period of coexistence was marked by significant cultural exchange. They used Asunción as the center from which many other cities in the region were founded. This was the reason why Asunción came to be known as the mother of cities. Spanish expeditions departed from Asunción to establish many cities, including Córdoba, Santa Cruz de la Sierra, and the second foundation of Buenos Aires.
By 1850, Paraguay was the most advanced country in Latin America, right? But when you go back 150 years ago, you can see the great Paraguay, a blossoming country that has full of opportunity in terms of production, in terms of invention, creations, all the things that have developed societies everywhere.
Okay, can we just say something? Can we call a spade a spade? Our president, Santiago Peña here, he's incredibly smart. He was the minister of finance before he became president. And he has a really rich history. I know he's conservative, and a lot of maybe liberals back home won't like everything about him, but you got to give it to him. He's incredibly intelligent. I believe he speaks Spanish, Guarani, French, English, as you can tell here. Even our last president, Marito, he spoke incredibly good English, goes on economic forums, all this stuff. He's not a Joe Biden. He's not sleepy like a mug. Hey, he's not no Trump, just some hater and a fake populist. He's not a Kamala. He's not a robot either. He's incredibly active on social media and always interacting with the people, for the better. And people here do not always agree with all of his decisions, but you got to give it to the guy that, he's very much a real person, and very much an intelligent human being, and he's not just sleeping at the helm either. Very much appreciate him for all that. All right, let's continue.
It was a blossoming country, but then war happened, which took it back for years. The War of the Triple Alliance was a major conflict that started in 1864 between Paraguay and the alliance of Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay.
For 6 years we fought. At the end, they killed our president, the only president that lost his life in the battlefield in the history of humankind, Mariscal Francisco Solano Lopez, on March the 1st. And after the war, we lost 60% of the territory, and we lost 90% of the male population. 90.
This left Paraguay in a critical state, but after generations and generations of recovery, they seemed ready to rise to the occasion.
So in order to stand up from that kind of situation in that time, so the time is now, after 150 years, after 5 or 4 generations of
So this is another person in government. What was the Ministry of? I believe it said finance. Look how good he speaks English as well. This is exactly why I tell you guys always that the elites and those who are in governing powers want to learn English, right? So you could set yourself up to be a tutor to one of these people if you have bilingual abilities. You understand? So I just wanted to bring that up. And again, everybody here is already bilingual with Guarani and Spanish. So like if they learn French and English on top of that, I mean, you guys, how many American politicians speak even 2 languages? Not very many. You know what I mean? Hopefully my video continues. The freaking lights are flickering here and stuff. They're doing work at the next store. So yeah, hopefully I can continue this video. But if anything, I can use mobile hotspot to continue. But yeah, let's keep going.
people growing and maturing in Paraguay, I think we are in a position where we can say, yes, 2024, this is the year that we are in a position where we are open to the world and ready for business.
Over the past few generations, Paraguay has taken significant steps to heal from its past. The country has implemented measures to ensure political and economic stability, leading to impressive growth and development. In the last 20 years, Paraguay's economy has grown faster than the regional average, with an average annual growth rate of 2.8% over the past decade. Notably, in 2023, Paraguay recorded the highest economic growth in the region at 4.7%, outperforming neighboring countries like Brazil and Colombia. Despite regional economic challenges, Paraguay has maintained a relatively stable inflation rate, averaging around 4% over the last decade. Its currency, the Guarani, has shown resilience throughout its ongoing 80-year lifespan. This is exceptional in a region where most currencies have experienced significant devaluations or ceased to exist altogether. So how has Paraguay been able to achieve this progress? What are the engines fueling this growth? The building blocks of the Paraguayan economy.
Yeah. I think that one of the most important things, because when you think about the challenge for humankind, not only for Paraguay, the question is, how are we going to feed a population that is growing? There's going to be around 10 billion in 2050.
Paraguay understands this is a big challenge for the future and has been for decades. This is why agriculture is the first building block of their economy. Agriculture is the most important economic activity in the
Yes. We value agriculture. All countries in the world should. You know, instead of one ship plugging up a canal, and then all your entire country goes to HELL. You know what I mean? Like whether it's what it was Suez Canal in Egypt, or the Panama Canal, or some shit like that. And America used to be this way. America used to produce pretty much everything, self-sufficient, and that's exactly what Paraguay is, self-sufficient. In fact, Paraguay, and I imagine it's going to say right now, produces so much it exports to even countries like America when it comes to beef and soy and other stuff. You know what I mean? So like, it's wild, man. And that's the first thing that I always tell you guys if you want to do investments is what? Agriculture. So let's keep going.
The country, employing close to 20% of the workforce and accounting for slightly over 10% of the GDP. Paraguay is a significant producer of various crops, including soybeans, corn, wheat, rice, and sugarcane. Livestock accounts for about 30% of agriculture production and 20% of exports. The reason is simple. Paraguay is optimal for agriculture. The country's fertile regions are comparable with those of Argentina and Brazil. And despite seeming like a small country, it is relatively large. For example, Paraguay is bigger than Germany.
Porque Paraguay, hoy fuimos prácticamente todo el año, está apto para la agricultura. Y como el país también ayuda muchísimo. Tenemos muchas herramientas para seguir adelante en la agricultura.
The climate is excellent too. It is basically summer all year round.
No tenemos heladas muy fuertes. Y por eso soja, maíz, trigo, podemos plantar 3 cultivos directos en una. Pero hay que andar.
Soy, corn, and wheat. No, he's saying can be produced essentially year round. And Paraguay has the land for it, and the willpower, and the ability to keep producing all these essential things that are so much downplayed, right? Because Paraguay doesn't have the the valley in San Francisco, the tech valley and all that. But I bet you they're going to talk about that too. Paraguay is going to be a tech hub going forward, right? And a big part of that is because low taxes. People and businesses want to be here. All right, but let's keep going.
La tierra no queda vacía en Paraguay.
The land is never empty in Paraguay. This is why they are the 6th largest producer of soybeans in the world, it being the main agricultural export. Paraguay is also one of the main countries where stevia can be cultivated, thus being the 2nd largest stevia producer in the world. Other agricultural products are corn, the most rapidly growing crop in recent years, sugarcane, which is an important crop for small farmers, and yerba mate. But where is Paraguay exporting these products?
El enfoque de la colocación de la venta de los productos es el mercado local, pero también estamos exportando principalmente a Brasil, Bolivia, que son países vecinos. También
Yeah, so principally export, well, I guess that wouldn't be exports, but it's consumed in Paraguay, but also Bolivia, Brazil, Did I here? I'll keep the okay. Okay, here. I'll keep the subtitles up. Sorry, you guys. Sorry. But yeah, I pretty much said what he said already. So let's keep going.
Hemos exportado a otros países como Ecuador, Venezuela o algo hacia África en su momento, pero el mercado internacional principalmente hoy es Brasil y Bolivia.
And there is still a lot
of room to grow.
Eso va a ser imparable el Paraguay donde estamos hoy. Como yo veo hoy, va a seguir creciendo muchísimo ahí. Y sí o sí, va a crecer más. No hay como parar eso.
The fertile soil and friendly weather is not only optimal for agriculture, but it's also especially suited for the second building block of the Paraguayan economy, forestry. First thing we noticed when we got here was the nature. We were struck by how green and lush this country is.
Yeah, so many people think of Paraguay as just like a wasteland, and the Chaco is like just this unproductive land. But that's so not true, especially southern Paraguay. What is it? What would it be? Eastern Paraguay, the southern and eastern. Oh, extremely far. But even in the Chaco, you can get just stuff growing. It might take more, but it's Paraguay, like you said, it's the size of California, or it's the size of Germany, or it's the size of the UK, the entire UK. With the population of Wisconsin, 7 million, you know what I mean? So like, it's so much potential, you guys. And yeah, the rich of the rich will sell off their land, especially to corporations and even people who want to buy it down the line, right? They're not just gonna hoard it forever. So anyways, not like the US, right? Oh, I need all my miles and miles and miles and miles of land because it's mine and it's my legacy. Like, nah, bro, they'll sell that. They'll sell that off here, to bidders and stuff. Okay, let's keep going.
The fact that Paraguayans do not know much about national parks stem from the fact that we all live in a very natural environment.
Yes.
I mean, all Paraguayans, we live, and we are very lucky, very fortunate, because the majority of Paraguay is green. So that means we all live in a national park.
Yeah, Asuncion feels like you're living
The
in
reforestation market here, which is something that I think is very exciting. Yeah, Paraguay, this is a place of tremendous amount of fresh water, great soil, right? Great sunlight. Summer, basically 3 seasons out of the year, summer with a kind of a light winter, and many growing seasons.
All of these factors make Paraguay highly productive.
So this is something that also came from the experience of countries, Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden. They have a lot of experience, and a couple of years ago they said we need to explore other parts of the world. Well, they came to Paraguay.
Yes, I always say the Nordic countries are the most serious about agriculture, because they bring their knowledge, and they're the ones who are the innovators when it comes to starting whatever agriculture they're going to get into. They're very high into research. They're very extremely scientific with this stuff, followed by Canadians, right? Your average US person doesn't give two F's about agriculture, even though your average American should, right? Australians, I don't think so, not too much. That's probably because you're coming from Australia and you guys have not that much fertile land. I don't know, maybe New Zealand's have more of a mind for whatever, agriculture in general, but even New Zealand has really limited amount of stuff that they're able to do, but it's always the people from the Nordic countries who I've seen here before I came and who literally hit me up, who always have the best minds for agriculture, exactly like Santi Peña is saying here.
And they planted seed and trees that will take 14 years in Europe, it take only 7 years here. So the productivity that Paraguay have is
14 years in Europe and 7 years here. Wow, half the time to be productive culturally.
I mean, so if you compare it to say the global north, where you might be growing pine, but I've heard as slow, it's like almost 10 times faster here or 5 times faster to grow trees here, for example, than it might be to grow in other climates, right? So
Wow. This is insane. Okay.
Paraguay has like really wonderful baseline metrics for growing trees very quickly.
What we also learn is that they have an intriguing way of approaching forestry.
We have a lot of idle land in Paraguay and deforested land. So I say, why don't we plant trees here? Let's plant trees on a commercial basis so that we can combine economic value with environmental values to the park and to the place, and also social value by providing jobs for the local community. We do the reforestation, we do it in a way that is called silvopastoral, because we combine trees with grass and cows. But how does it work? I mean, the trees are protecting the grass and the cows so that they are happy cows because they eat or they grass. So the forest creates an environment that is more moderate. The other thing is, when you have a grass cover, the soil does not get erosion. It's not erosion to the waterways, because we have 100% coverage by the grass.
This approach is not only more efficient, but also allows to grow cattle while capturing carbon and not the other way around.
Our major activity every day is to capture carbon in our forest.
With around 40% of Paraguay's land area being covered by forest, this means a lot of carbon is being captured already. Alongside other initiatives, it could even lead to Paraguay becoming completely carbon neutral.
I think that, the reforestation, for example, could be a really big wave or a really big trend in the future. Paraguay has the opportunity to become a fairly large nation that's totally carbon neutral, because the electricity here, almost, I think, more than 90, very high percentage, almost 100% of the electricity here is from renewable hydroelectricity from hydro dams. So that's something that lowers substantially Paraguay's, total carbon output, let's say. And if you couple that together with its reforestation potential as a carbon sink, Paraguay has like very, very good potential.
Yeah, guys, we have very good air quality here. It didn't used to be that way. I want to say like even 15 years ago, because of like the high pollution in the cities, etc. And the only thing that makes the air quality here bad is when there are forest fires. Like, in fact, the first like 3 months I was here, air quality was bad because of Chaco fires, the northern part of Paraguay, and Brazilian fires, right? Coming more from the north east, right? But besides that, I can look outside. I'm not gonna change my laptop, but it's clear as day. I mean, our skies are incredibly clear, and wonderful, right? And you can tell. But when there are forest fires, it can get I mean, that happens in America too. I remember in America, last year I was living there, and it was like a month or two straight in Wisconsin for the forest fires and the smoke coming from Canada. Yeah, so I mean, it was incredible. So that can happen here, but when that doesn't happen, it's a very, you can tell the air quality, right?
This takes us to the third building block of the country's economy, the one that keeps the whole show running: energy. Paraguay generates 100% of its electricity from renewable sources, making it one of the only countries in the world that runs completely on renewable electricity. Power generation relies almost entirely on hydroelectric power from the Itaipu Dam.
It's a massive victory for Paraguay over the past decades. It's one of the greatest facilities to produce green electricity. Would you be able to describe to the audience a little bit more about what is Itaipu Dam in your own words?
Itaipu was built 50 years ago, in a time where it was the biggest engineering project, maybe of the world, joint enterprise with Brazil, because we share the Paraná River, that started out as a territorial problem. There were issues on the boundaries of the countries. Again, why am I mentioning this? Because this is how you turn problems into opportunities. And this is
Yes, I always tell you guys, the southern cone of South America is arguably one of the safest places on earth, and it has been through the last two world wars, ever since the 1860s. Okay, I guess with the exception of when Bolivia got extremely aggressive and invaded Paraguay. That was in the 1930s. But besides that one exception, I guess there was other conflicts too. But overall, right, for damn near 100 years, Paraguay has been the a haven, right? And gets along with its neighbors, and you know, and when you do national projects like this that benefit both countries, it's incredibly important, right? Especially Brazil, right? You know, they're arguably our closest neighbor, you know, through commerce and all that. Even more so than Argentina, and definitely more so than Bolivia, right? But yeah, it's very, very important stuff, you guys.
how it happened. And Itaipu ended up being the largest dam and still is the third largest dam in the world, generating enormous amounts of green energy that now positions Paraguay as a global player in this green energy business that is so demanding in the world. So it started out by building a dam that could provide energy, electricity to the countries.
Welcome to Itaipu Dam that lies between Paraguay and Brazil. It's the third largest hydroelectric dam, and that has allowed Paraguay to become a net exporter of green electricity. Paraguay has a lot of thanks to this dam. It has been offering its tremendous opportunities to become one of the only countries in Latin America that is completely operating with sustainable energy.
The dam produces excess energy that today Paraguay is exporting. This makes them the largest electricity exporter in Latin America and the third largest net exporter of renewable electricity in the world.
And the fact
Behind Norway and Laos, okay? The third biggest exporter of renewable energy in the world. And why is it never mentioned from Europeans and North Americans? That's exactly what I'm saying, dude. It is so... whenever they brought up these green energies, and they always pointed to the Nordic countries and some little things that America is doing decently when it comes to some of that stuff, I'm like, dude, you guys are so ridiculous that you guys don't even mention Paraguay. So ridiculous. All right, let's keep going.
that we are exporting 80% of our energy to our neighboring countries at low tariffs because this is the way things have been run before. We need to change that. We need to completely plant a flag into Paraguay and say, look, we have the greenest, most abundant energy in the world. If you are the owner of an industry or an entrepreneurship idea or anything related to the growth of the economy, come to Paraguay. We're going to plug you in to this green, abundant energy.
This excess of green...
You tell him, sir. You tell him. Them. You tell them. Man, I preached this for years, you guys. I've preached this for so many years. Right? Okay, let's keep going.
Energy is a massive opportunity that will enable even further growth.
The clean and renewable energy that we have. I mean, there's a huge opportunity there. And I know that the current government, and there are a lot of projects now to focus on that.
So what we need to do is tell the world the next generation of green, sustainable energy is in Paraguay. For a digitalized world, a world that needs abundant energy, and a world that is preoccupied with the ecosystem, with the environment, because this is 99% of the energy produced in Paraguay is green and renewable. And that is an enormous opportunity we have to share to the world.
With this vast green energy available in Paraguay, where companies can just plug into the network and produce sustainably, we reach the fourth building block: manufacturing. Manufacturing represents 20% of the GDP, and it has seen impressive growth. In the past 20 years, the industrial GDP has multiplied over 5.5 times. Food and beverages are the core of Paraguay's manufacturing activity, accounting for about half of industrial activity. Wood products contribute over 8% of exports. Also notable are textiles and leather alongside paper and paper products. Paraguay is also part of Mercosur, the South American trade bloc, thus making Brazil and Argentina their main trade partners for exports. Nevertheless, production is not only being exported. Paraguayans are now consuming more nationally produced goods than before.
When we started,
Yes, that's always been one of my biggest goals for Paraguay. Be as self-sustainable as humanly possible. That's always what I want to see for my country. Always. The most self-sustainable countries are always the best off, right? They don't have to depend on oil and all this other effery coming from other stuff, and one ship being plugging up a canal and then everything goes to HEL, like I just said. Like, so yeah, this is great, you guys.
there were not many Paraguayan industry that were leaders inside their category. But today we see in cookies and crackers, we see in alfajores that there are some Paraguayan companies that have been really top of mind in the last few years that are more artisan type products, but are very good quality. In beer, we have seen that Paraguayan national beers have been really taking part of the market share.
Why are companies betting on?
Yeah, you guys, I just went to the store, the big box store, and the candies, like they're like top quality, like damn near Belgian style, like chocolates, and they're so cheap. I mean, you can get a thing like this for like $2 American. It would be like $15 in America or something like that. You know what I mean? Like stuff that like you would like buy your girlfriend like once a year, you can get here for like $1 or $2. Like a great chocolates, and beer, yeah, beers as well. They're becoming better, you guys. Like, and because technology is improving, right? And they're so cheap. You can get a freaking 18 pack for 30,000. What would that be? That would be like $4.20, not even like $4.20 for like an 18 pack of a pretty damn good beer. You know what I mean? So it's just like, or it's coming from Brazil right next door or something like that. You know what I mean? So yeah, you guys, it's good stuff.
Paraguay for manufacturing. What are the reasons that these entrepreneurs are producing here?
Do have a good labor force. We do have cheaper labor force. We have a young sales force as well. Cost of land is very cheap. Cost of rent is very cheap. Taxes are very low, the lowest in the region.
These benefits are incredibly attractive for producers, and companies around the world are starting to notice. This is the case of Spanish paddle company Knox.
Well, after making our studies, and Paraguay was one of the countries that fits better to the business for many reasons. Some of the reasons is because, perhaps there are laws that give you facilities to be here. They have the Maquila law, and also they have the 6090 law that, have Syrian or everything about taxes. So how you introduce your raw material here, everything. So this is good. And then that in the beginning was very good. Hand labor is not so expensive as in Europe. It's very important because you need a lot of people here. And the third thing is that you get people to work. And the people are ready to work. Are ready. Yes, and they work.
That's goddamn right. People are ready to work here. You won't hear no fucking complaining. In fact, people will be extremely grateful for the jobs that they have here. Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, foreigners from everywhere are realizing that. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's keep going.
What? And you got people.
Paraguay seems like a great opportunity. So why is it that more international companies are not yet taking advantage of this?
So you ask, why aren't there multinational factories in Paraguay? We have almost zero, just a few. Why aren't they, forming a line to come open their factories here? We have all these benefits. And really what happens is that multinationals usually go into a country buying a company. They buy a brand that is already has X% of a market share and is already exporting to the region. But companies in Paraguay are too small. and they are too small because we only look inside Paraguay when we invest and when we want to make a selling strategy. The size of the market here is so small that we will never be able to grow if we don't have this financing to let us, take the risk to go build a brand in Argentina or Brazil or Uruguay or Chile. Once we have this, a lot of industries will start doing this. And then the, Unilever's, Johnson and Johnson's of the world will come and buy these factories, because once they buy factories, they don't buy machines, they buy market share. And market share in a small country like Paraguay is not attractive. So, a big step for big multinationals to come here comes through the growth of our brands, our industries, and this will come through finance. So this is why I think that if we think of a Paraguay here to 20 years, we have to inject money, risk money to finance industries. And this is how we are going to be a country that is a big player worldwide in industry and not only in agriculture. So today, Paraguay has to see what we want to be in the next 10 years to 20 years. Do we want to keep exporting energy, or do we really want to industrialize our country? And if you ask me, it's industrialization is the way to go, but industrialization without financing does not exist.
We have now explored the building blocks driving the country.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've recognized the same things that, if Paraguay just had more outside investments into building up Paraguayan brands. Yeah, I don't know how much I feel about like a Johnson and Johnson, like purchasing stuff like that instead of maybe just collaborating or something like that. But I mean, who am I to stop it, right? But like, I don't know if I necessarily want to see American brands here and companies and decisions being made back on Wall Street for what goes on in Paraguay. I don't know how I like that. Again, I know I'm not anybody to stop this stuff, but like, in general, people, individuals and small businesses and large businesses, all the way up to multinational corporations are going to benefit. I mean, look at some of the things that they just said about even like agriculture, that trees grow anywhere from 2 times to 10 times faster here in Paraguay than they would in northern hemisphere, right? So things like that. Let's keep going.
First economy, and it is clear they hold significant growth potential and a promising future. With an international focus and pro-market regulations, the country is making a strong case for investment. But what truly makes Paraguay stand out isn't just these building blocks. It is the combination of their promising future with a few additional elements which make Paraguay's story so intriguing. During our stay, there was one thing we heard over and over again: stability.
Paraguay has already obtained during the last decades a very strong macro stability, macro economy in regards of low inflation, a very strong currency.
Yeah, you guys. So they talk about 4% inflation. Always times that by like 3, right? Just like in the US, they'll say like, oh, it's only like 10% inflation. Times that by like 3 minimally, right? So like your average Paraguayan is gonna feel the crunch, right? So like, yeah, I know that they're talking on a macro level, GDP, sort of like macro, but your average Paraguayan is gonna suffer even if it's just a tiny bit of inflation. But inflation in a lot of our countries is insane. We're talking about 30 to 50%, right? So your average Paraguayan, whether it's a true 4 like they're talking about, or maybe it's more like a 12, affecting your average consumer down here. You know what I mean? Like it does affect the average Paraguayans, but like compared to like inflation in our countries, true inflation, not the bullshit numbers that they give us coming from the fucking the government, like true inflation, like 30 to 50% inflation, it's still a hell of a thing to go to Paraguay with your Western currencies. You know what I mean? So anyways, yeah, let's keep going.
Paraguay should also start to being known for its economic stability, low inflation, very, very serious ways in which economic activity is being conducted.
I can say in the last 30 years, you can see the huge political stability and the huge macroeconomic stability.
I think the stability of the country is something that I value a lot.
All the economic advantages, lower taxes, stable politics.
20 years ago, Paraguayans, we make a strong commitment to macro stability. And how do you put it? A country that has maintained macro stability, 80 years of the same currency. And for an European, this might not be a big issue, but Latin America has been full of cases of hyperinflation. And this is one of the main.
Argentina, Venezuela, I believe even Colombia. Yeah, like hyperinflation is I mean, one of the biggest killers of, I mean, it's even happening. I mean, you could even put America on the list for, I mean, maybe not hyperinflation like Latin America and countries, but like, God, dude, like, yeah, man, like, yeah, Paraguay, they're probably going to mention as one of the strongest central banks in the, well, certainly in the region, but even in the world. You know what I mean? And, you know, and once again, let me just say, look at how smart our president is. Look at how smart Santiago Peña is. He has spent decades focusing on this stuff. You know what I mean? And like, you know, our political leaders can't even fucking formulate sentences, or they're falling the fuck asleep or something like that. You know what I mean? Or they're just like incredibly like idiotic populists. You know what I mean? So it's just like, dude, I'm so thrilled to, like, me as a foreigner coming, well, we haven't barely had serious politicians in fucking years. Like to hear him talk, and this isn't even his fucking first language, and talk more intelligibly in English than even our own goddamn politicians back in North America. Like, Jesus Christ, dude, it's a real breath of fresh air. You know what I mean? Let's keep going.
Words of instability, high inflation. Paraguay has maintained very low inflation, has an independent central bank.
Paraguay stands out in the region for its remarkable stability, having enjoyed a prolonged period of economic and political steadiness. This has fostered a favorable environment for business. Coupled with the implementation of structural reforms, this resulted in a significant decrease in the poverty rate from 52% in 2002 to 19.9% in 2022.
And talking about stability,
52 to 19. Wow. That is, I mean, that is incredible. And I've seen it. Yeah. I would say, well, Paraguayans are not starving, right? You know, Paraguayans may struggle, but they're not starving. You know what I mean? Maybe in other countries around here, like Brazil and Argentina, those favelas, and they're like they were just saying, like, and then even the middle class got crushed by hyperinflation. A lot of those people are struggling. You know what I mean? And Paraguayans also, because of our culture, you're gonna help your neighbor out anyways. You know what I mean? So that's and there's this strong family aspect too here, right? So like maybe you may not make high wages, but your household may 4 people, 1 or 2 parents plus 2 kids' wages on top of that, helping out the family to survive and even thrive, right? So anyways, let's keep going.
and talking about financial terms, we can also talk about access. It's very easy to start your business here. And the government and the country has made a lot of effort on that. Specifically, for example, one of the things that have done the past government is the EAS. So now you can open your business in only 72 hours, everything online. So these kind of things. Of course, there are things that we have to build on that, and there are things that we can get better. But in general, it's very easy to make business here.
Paraguay offers an attractive tax landscape for foreign investors. Business income, including capital gains and foreign currency exchanges, is taxed at a maximum of 10%, with special regimes reducing this to as low as 1%. The simple 10-10-10 scheme ensures maximum 10% for corporate.
Isn't this amazing? And like you just said, sometimes it's not even that high. Sometimes there's tax write-offs that literally make you pay like 1%. And I know that some North Americans and Europeans will be like, you have to have high taxes. You have to. Oh my God, you need high taxes on absolutely everything. What? You're not forking over 50 goddamn % of your paycheck over to the government? How can anything possibly function? You know what I mean? But like, nah, dude, like you'd be surprised. You know why? It's because Paraguay doesn't fork over trillions of goddamn dollars to defense spending. You know what I mean? And so like, yeah, you could actually be like, not tax your fucking people that much or even investors that much and actually have a healthier society. Right. And I know that, you know, Paraguay does have to improve in things like healthcare and education. I understand that, but it's at least moving in the right direction, you know? So yeah, let's keep going.
Income and value-added tax. Foreign source income is generally exempt unless tied to local interest, commissions, or capital gains. Dividends and profits face an 8% tax for residents and 15% for non-residents. Large investments of over 13 million USD have significant tax incentives available, including exemptions and tax-free dividends. Alongside the favorable tax environment, the creditworthiness enhances the appeal. Earlier this year, S&P Global Ratings upgraded Paraguay's long-term foreign and local currency ratings to BB+ from BB. Also recently, Paraguay's credit score was upgraded to investment grade, Baa3 from Ba1 by Moody's Ratings. This shows how the country is well positioned to sustain growth and manage debt levels effectively, making it an increasingly reliable destination for foreign investment. This upgrade is driven by consistent economic growth, prudent macroeconomic policies, and the country's ability to attract private sector investments. Thanks to sustained effort, Paraguay has managed to put themselves in an interesting position. This leaves an intriguing question. What are the drivers that will ensure Paraguay's bright future?
Yeah, you guys, very, very good documentary. This was amazing. This might have bored some people who aren't too much into investment or whatever. You know, even myself, I'm not diving deep into all this stuff, but I have a great appreciation for a healthy economy, for, like they just said at the end, a stable economy. You know, and just being a freaking decent country overall. You can literally tell from the top of our leadership, Santiago Peña, incredibly smart man, was literally the Minister of Finance for years, right? And again, I know that people and local Paraguayans have a lot of issues with the conservatives here, but you know, on a macro level, like especially coming in as a foreigner and an investor, wow, you know what I mean? And this is what I always say too. It's just like, you know, and even going down to like an individual level, 10% income tax if you either or whatever, if you start a business, etc., or you're like an English professor or something like that, and you have to start reporting taxes, right? You know what I mean? So it's just like, dude, 10% versus like what the fuck I was paying, like over 30, and some of you guys are paying 40. I think in Canada, you guys are giving away damn near half of your fucking money to the government. And I don't even know about Europeans. Yeah, I know that you guys get at least some more stuff out of it, like healthcare and shit. Like us Americans, we don't get a goddamn thing besides like more fucking war and all this like asinine ass shit. You know what I mean? So it's just like, dude, it's really cool to analyze Paraguay in this way. You know, and I'm so glad, at least in 2024, we're past the fucking imagery of all of us are just you know, a poor nation living in fucking mud huts, and Paraguay is just it was literally one of those laugh off countries. Literally, like, just go to some Paraguay where they, you know, it's just all just poverty and I mean, America's number one, you guys. I'm just like, no, it's not, dude. Fuck you mean? I've been coming here for 12, almost 13 years now. I've seen the growth myself. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, dude, like anybody who watches this and be like, oh, America's better. Oh my God, you guys, America's number one, you guys. Like, no, it's not, dude. And fucking what? America's like number fucking 40 and 50 and 60 and 70 and 100. The fuck is America number one in? Starting or funding wars? Okay, there you go. That's about it. You know what I mean? So it's like, Jesus H. Christ, you guys, like, for the love of God, try to get here. You know, if you're a big time investor, your pockets are just fucking full as fuck. You know, consider your investments. But even if you're a small time investor, looking into your own life, maybe you buy a $5,000 or $10,000 plot of land. You just sit on it and wait fucking 5 or 10 years, and then you're gonna like what, quadruple your investment. You know, and like I already know myself. I already know which are some of the best regions to be investing in. I've talked about this with some people here myself. You know, eventually down the line, I'll let you guys know about that. But you know, really, truly, man, like I don't know why moving overseas and like and trying to set something up isn't like people's top priority. You know, and you know what's funny as hell is like people are still engaging in the politics back in the States. Like people are just like, oh my God, I can't accept that Donald Trump is gonna be president. Oh my God, I don't know, what are we gonna do, you guys? I'm like, dude, what you should be doing is stop engaging in the fucking politics and start looking to move abroad. Individuals, families, couples, all of you. The fuck you want to stay in the States for? At least long term, right? Maybe you have to work a few years and save up your money and do all this, but for the long term, why wouldn't you make this your retirement plan? You know? And okay, you guys, you know, I be preaching, but like I've heard my whole goddamn life, even up to recent years, from fucking teachers, professors, nobody who knows a goddamn thing about my country. And it's just like I see a documentary like this, and I'm like, yep, told you guys, bunch of dumbasses. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, great documentary. Go find follow Helmi, Helmi. I'm sure I did a reaction video over an hour here. But thanks for sticking in there, you guys. Again, you know my thought process. Get the fuck out of America. If it's not for like cost of living, then do it for cultural reasons. You know, and try to find your you know, if you're coming as a guy, try to find your Paraguayan sweetheart here. You know, yeah, there's a little bit of degeneracy here, but like there's still a way better chance you're gonna find like the love of your life here than you ever would, especially as an older guy. Especially like a 40s, 50s, 60s guy in America. Fuck out of here. You think you're going to find a decent partner at that age in America? Psh, hell no, boy. Anyways. Yada me. Okay, I'm out of here. Renaranda, my best life, Paraguay. See you guys later. All right.